What is up, everybody? It's your boy NornRad89 here, bringing you another video. Today it is possibly going to be a long one, so I just suggest that you get some snacks, you get a drink, you sit down, you chill out, relax wherever you like chilling out, because today we're going to be ranking the Stranger Things characters. And I did kind of compile a huge list. We have 35 characters on here. I did cheat a little bit. There's a combo of characters together in this list, but there's 35 characters to get through from Stranger Things. I wasn't actually planning on doing this video because it's been so long since the final season actually dropped, but I'm such a huge fan of Stranger Things. I love this show, and I can't wait for just to talk about it every time. I love talking about it, so it's like I don't really care how good this video does, because it's been a few weeks already since the previous season already dropped, but I want to rank all of them. Like I said, it just took me a while just compiling this list and coming up with all these characters, and I just kept adding more characters and adding more characters, so I stopped at 35. So let's get into this, and before we get into it, this is just my opinion, my ranking, my favorite characters. Let's do this. Roll it. So some we are going to speed through just so we make this not as long a video as it has to be or anything like that. Some of these characters at the bottom of the barrel, I don't really have a lot to say about them. As we get more to the top and closer to my favorites and favorites, we'll talk more and more. Coming at number 35, the very last spot, my least favorite character that's ever been in Stranger Things is Lonnie Byers, and this is Will's father, and I can't stand him. Lonnie Byers, he's only in the first season, and that's why I really wasn't even thinking of including him, but I actually hate his character so much I wanted to talk about it. He is my least favorite character. Just a dad to me. I'm a father of 3, and a father who doesn't want to be in their child's life, let alone come into his ex's life and his child's life when he's missing, and just use it to kind of, weasel his way back into it and get some money and everything. Yeah, Lonnie Byers is by far, I think, the worst character in this show. Coming in at number 34, we have Jason, who was our bully from Stranger Things Season 4, and I understand the purpose of his character was for us to hate him, and I definitely do hate his character, but he does grate on my nerves, and returning to Season 4, every time I just want to punch Jason in the face. Coming in at number 3, we have the deputies right here from season 1, 2, and 3. Basically is when they kind of mainly show up. Once we get into season 4 and 5, you do not see these characters at all, but we're talking about deputies Calvin and Phil, and for me, they're just forgettable, useless characters, even when they were kind of comic relief in the first 2 seasons going into the season 3, and I think actually one of them does show up in season 4 because he is now the sheriff, but he's useless at stopping Jason when he's going on his rampage to hunt down Eddie. So yeah, the deputies are down here this low on the list. Coming in at number 32, we have Mr. Wheeler. Just reason why he's a little bit higher up than some of the other characters, he's been in every season of the show, but he's so stagnant. He's a character that gets no character growth, and he has very few moments where he kind of stands up or does anything memorable. The most memorable thing he did in the show was in season 5 when he stepped up to fight a Demogorgon and he slapped it with a golf club, and then he ended up getting blasted through a wall. So yeah, that's really the only memorable thing Mr. Wheeler has done in this show. Number 31, we're talking about Professor K, and Professor K is, in my opinion, one of the most worst used villains in this show. To be honest, Linda Hamilton was a total fan casting of the 80s, and for us hardcore Terminator and Terminator 2 fans, Linda Hamilton's character is basically useless in the show, and Professor K, if you're going to deliver a character like that we're supposed to hate so much because of her feelings on Eleven and just how blinded she is by what she believes in, you have to give her comeuppance. And by the time we get to the final episode in season 5, nothing happens to her. She just vanishes. We don't see her die or get obliterated or anything. We have no idea if she's even looking or creating other kids like 11. We just know Professor K has vanished, and it's a total waste of Linda Hamilton for sure, and that's why she's this low on the list. Coming in at number 30, we have probably one of the most hated characters in the show for a really long time, and that's Kali, which is number 8, which first showed up in season 2. They brought her back in season 5, and I think for me, what happened with this character is that season 5 really did help elevate this character a little bit, not too much, but if I was to do this ranking before season 5 dropped and it was just the first 4 seasons of Stranger Things, Kali would have been literally like number 35 or 34. She would have been at the very bottom, but she saved herself a little bit with the actress. Like, I don't really blame it too much on her. It's just that second season, that episode is completely awful, and then when you get to season 5, they wrote a better story arc for her character, and that's why she climbed up a few spots. Coming in at number 29, we have Jack Sullivan, which was our military, he's our African American leader, military guy who was after 11 in season 4, and he's the one character that I think I put him above Professor K and Kali and Mr. Wheeler and stuff, because for me, he was the only villain we really need military-wise for season 5. You could have literally wrote Professor K's character out of season 5, and I think Jack and his little right-hand man dude, who eventually, like 11, makes him shoot himself in the head, those two characters were the perfect amount of characters that we needed, you know what I mean? The one general leader who's just hell-bent on capturing 11, and then his right-hand man who's just blinded by, what his leader's after. I think that would have been fine, but instead they added Professor K in season 5, and that took away from Jack. So Jack, I think, could have been higher up, and especially this actor. I think the actor did a fantastic job with this character. He just didn't get enough to do in this last season like he was in season 4. Now, rolling in at number 28, we have Dr. Brenner. Dr. Brenner, this is kind of a weird one to talk about because I don't mind the actor at all. I think he's a fantastic actor. I just like his character, his demeanor. Sometimes I just want to punch him in the face, and I understand that's his whole purpose, but I'm more comfortable with his performance and his villain antagonistic ways that he does things. But he also kind of comes in as a protagonist a little bit for 11, really pushing her to use her powers again. That's why he's kind of higher up than Jason, because he's one of those characters that we are designed to hate as fans. But Dr. Brenner kind of does a little bit of, winning us over when it comes to season 4 and stuff, and showing us that his views and what he thought of 11 and viewing her as a daughter and what he wanted, it was for his gain. It was just to make her more powerful, but in a weird, creepy way, he did care about her. And at number 27, we have Enzo, and this is one of those characters that gets mixed thoughts and mixed reviews from me on season 4, because I have fun with the Russia plot with Hopper and Enzo and everything, but it always takes away from the stuff that I want to see. So when season 4 happens, every time I rewatch it, I'm just not as comfortable with the Russia thing, because I feel like in season 3 they had a great opportunity to kill off Hopper. And I know that sounds blasphemous. I know a lot of people are going to be upset about that comment, but Jim Hopper had a fantastic death sequence at the end of season 3, cliffhanger, and they left us hanging. And then eventually we got that after credit scene that was like they left us hanging for literally just minutes and told us that Hopper was alive in Russia. So I think that was a huge mistake, and for me, the Russia plot line is probably one of my least favorite parts of season 4. Coming in at number 26, we have Barb, and Barb's character is only in season 1, but she's always talked about throughout the show. She is a driving force for Nancy Wheeler's character, and you're going to find Nancy Wheeler very high up in my rankings. So the fact that Barb is a driving force in her character, and they weave her character, Barb, into multiple seasons where she is kind of like an icon, just a representation of the horrors of the Upside Down and losing innocence, and what it's like, and how we have to avenge that, how we have to, respect that fact that, Barb was taken by a Demogorgon and swallowed up by the Upside Down and killed, and Nancy can't live with that. Like I said, that is the driving force of that character. And Barb becomes kind of like a saint. The more you get into Stranger Things and you get into the later seasons, the way they talk about that character. So I really do like Barb. She had a very lasting impression for only being in the first season. Coming in at number 25, we have Susie, which is Dustin's girlfriend, and I know she has very few episodes where she shows up, but she is another one, kind of like Barb. She makes iconic moments. She's always funny, and even her family and the dynamic of her character, I really love, and especially, we love that never-ending story singing sequence with her and Dustin is one of the most iconic moments in the show, so Susie definitely deserves this spot high up here because I have no problems when she shows up on screen. And I really wasn't mad that she wasn't in season 5. I just kind of took it as that Dustin and her broke up because of long distance relationship. But every time Susie's on screen, I have fun. Next up, we have Mayor Larry Klein, and he is one of the main villains of season 3, which is my favorite season of Stranger Things. So he's this high up there because of the charismatic actor, such a fabulous actor, and he's a guy that you love to hate, but for me, I have fun with his character. It's very much unlike Jason or Dr. Brenner, where their characters, I kind of want to punch them in the face and I want them to be off the screen. I want to get rid of them. Mayor Larry Klein's kind of like that asshole character that I'm like, oh, I could find myself hanging out with this guy, even though he's kind of an asshole. Like, that's the way the actor portrays this character, and I love it. Coming in at number 23, we have Delightful Derek, one of the most iconic characters that came out of season 5. Derek could possibly climb up this list. He's one of those characters that on rewatches of season 5, because I've only rewatched it twice so far, out of when I binge the seasons again or rewatch season 5, Delightful Derek could definitely climb up this list. He's a character that, when he first came in was very annoying. You wanted to hate him, and then by the time we got to the last episode of season 5, you just wanted him to be saved and wanted the best for Derek. So yeah, he's definitely an actor that wormed his way into our hearts, and we love Delightful Derek. Rolling in at number 22 is going to be Dr. Owens, which is basically the polar opposite of Dr. Brenner. That's kind of why he's this high up here, is Dr. Owens wants to help Eleven. He was always a doctor that came in and wanted the best, and he just kind of worked with Brenner because he was like, this guy's my friend, and, I need his, equipment and the money that he provides and stuff, but I think Dr. Owens does a great job, and every time this actor's on screen, he's warm, he's inviting, and he has a great scene and chemistry with all the characters that he interacts with, even though it's mostly just Dr. Brenner and Eleven, but he does talk to some of the other characters, and I think Dr. Owens is just one of those characters that I'm never going to be mad at when I return to the show. Coming in at number 21, this is going to be the first placement, I think, for one of our main characters, and that's going to be Jonathan. And the reason Jonathan Byers is this low on the list is because he's just a character that I have fun with. In the season 1, I really like his character. In season 4, I think his character is even fun in season 4. But there's other seasons where they just lose their way with Jonathan. And I think out of all the main characters, the main cast, the people that we've been with since season 1, Jonathan is the one that mostly gets the shit end of the stick. Like, he just never really gets anything to do. And when he comes up to it, like, he has some cool moments in the show. And that's why he's higher up on this list. And he's a main player, a main character. But for me, he's the one that out of all of the top dogs, he gets the shit end of the stick. And at number 20, we have Bob, another very famous character that we got lost way too soon. Bob gets introduced to in season 2, and we get to know him. He is the love interest of Joyce, and a really big part in helping Will kind of stand up to the Mind Flayer. And I love Bob's character, plus he's played by Sean Astin, which is just, you go all the way back to the Goonies or Lord of the Rings. He's a very popular fandom actor. We all know him, and he brings such a warmth and comfortability to this character that we only get to spend one season with. So Bob is a standing character that, leaves an impression, and I love him, and he's smart, he's, tactical and technology wise, but he forgets guns, and he's not, an athlete, and he's basically the exact opposite of Jim Hopper, and you see how that comes into play when you get to his death scene in season 2, and that still is one of the most potent emotional scenes in the show. Number 19, we have Holly Wheeler, and one that I At first, when I saw probably the first 3 episodes of season 5, if you were to tell me what's my ranking for Holly Wheeler, she would have been a lot lower. But in season 5, as the episodes progress, her character just gets better and better. Of course, she was always been in the show. She's the younger sister of of Mike and Nancy, but Holly doesn't actually get any screen time until this season, main screen time, and she is recasted for an actress from Evil Dead Rise, Daphne, Staphne, so a character that we really love from Evil Dead Rise, a fantastic young actress, and I hope she does other horror stuff in the future. But Holly Wheeler climbed this list, especially with the last 2 episodes of season 5. And at number 18, we have Argyle, who is mainly comic relief, and when it comes to season 4, he's funny. I like him and Jonathan's chemistry, and I think what Argyle represents, I know it's a lot of stoner comedy, but he's just fun to be around, and the actor plays it. He understands the character. He's just there literally for comic relief, and he does what his job's supposed to do. And maybe if they included him season 5, it probably would have pushed him lower down on this list, because there really wasn't a place for Argyle in season 5. He's literally one of those guys that just is a side character that you put in a season as a little spice to spark up the season, and Argyle was a lot of fun, and that's why he's this high on the list. Coming in at number 17, which, fun fact, is my favorite number, but coming in at number 17 is going to be Mrs. Wheeler, and we all know why Mrs. Wheeler is this high up on the list. All jokes aside, though, Mrs. Wheeler is a badass mom that stands up for her children, and stood up and looked a Demogorgon in the face and took her wine bottle and was like, I'm going to take you down, and did her best shot. So, Nancy, she does a great job as, Nancy's mom, Mike's mom, Holly's mom. I think Mrs. Wheeler, she's kind of the exact opposite of Mr. Wheeler, where he's just that side character, father, parent character that doesn't really change, gets no really character growth or anything. We have a lot of fun moments with Mrs. Wheeler where, her character and Billy, Max's older brother, is trying to hit on her in season 3. And I think Mrs. Wheeler out of the parent characters, gets the most to do in this show. Besides Joyce, of course. We can't forget Joyce, because Joyce, we haven't come down to Joyce Byers yet. Coming in at number 16, we have Henry/Vecna, our main lead villain, or one of our main lead villains for 2 full seasons of the show, and I think Bowers does a great job at portraying this character. Henry/Vecna, one of the best villains that you could have for this show, because it is a 3-dimensional villain. It's a villain that you could understand and almost sympathize with, but does go full dark side. And by the time we see him in season 5, he's just full-blown, so far into the dark side, committed to the Mind Flayer, and committed to crashing these worlds together, that Henry/Vecna is just lost. There is no more Henry anymore. It is just Vecna, and a lot of the scenes are very scary, does a fantastic job. So I think, this is one of those iconic villains that probably should be higher up on the list, but I have so much fun with a lot of these characters. Like, once we're getting into the top 27, 28 characters, or no, right around 27, 26, are all characters that I thoroughly love, and it's like splitting hairs. It was really tough to see where they land. And Vecna's one that, you love to hate him, but you also could kind of sympathize with him. So that's why he's sitting here at number 16. Coming in at number 15, we have Will. And I know Will is one of our main players, one of our main stayers. But one thing for Will is that in the first season, Will is just kind of that lost child. We don't get a lot of time with this character. In the second season, Will gets a lot of standout moments. Then in season 3, Will does have some awesome moments as well, with the Mind Flayer and helping Eleven, and just kind of the dynamic with the characters. But I feel like season 4 really stepped back and took Will, really stepped back, and I didn't like a lot of the stuff that happened with Will's character in season 4, or how he was reacting to even Eleven when they moved out together and Eleven was getting bullied and stuff. So there was a lot of stuff that bothered me about Will. Season 5 did help him, but it didn't help him that much, because there's just so many other characters above him that just have so many more iconic moments, or I connect with them more, or I understand their characters more. And like I said, Will for a while there was getting shafted in terms of the main crew of kids. Coming up at number 14, we have Mike, another mainstayer, another leader of the crew. Mike is definitely one of those ones that's kind of the heartbeat of the show, but also is kind of falls into the same category as Jonathan, where they didn't really know what to do with Mike for a while there. Like I would say season 1 and season 5 for me are my favorite Mike seasons. When it comes to those two seasons, I think Mike stands up for 11. He does the best he can, and he's also like the heart of the group in season 5, and even his friendship with Will and how he does and handles the situation when Will comes out and how he talks to him. Mike is a standing best friend, and even that epilogue in season 5. But season 1, he's that main connection, that lover of 11, that the way he looks at her through rose-tinted glasses, even though there's so much dangerous shit going on around 11. Mike is such a fun character to be around. But with season 2, 3, and 4, they kind of trickle down where they don't really know what to do with Mike, and he's relegated to the back burner. Coming in at number 13 is going to be Murray, one of my favorite side characters, probably because the actor, I think he's just such a funny actor, and all the scenes that he has in the show, I would say, are some of my favorites. Coming up with season 2, season 3, 4, 5, Murray's always a recurring character, side character that comes in. The comic relief is always fantastic. Season 3 is probably my favorite, moments with him and all that. And then season 4, it's more of him with Joyce. A lot of great moments with them when they're trying to go to Russia to save Jim. That's probably my favorite part of the Russia storyline, is Murray teaming up with Joyce. But then season 5, I do get a little tired of that character because it's just like recycled comedy. Him and Jim always butting heads and making silly, snarky comments to each other. But Murray is one of those side characters that is one of my favorites, and I'm glad was in the show, and I will never forget him. Coming in at number 12 is going to be Joyce Byers, and the one, like I said, higher up as a parent than Mrs. Wheeler. Joyce Byers is obviously, I think, one of the key, most famous parents in this show, and she definitely is a character in season 1 and 2 is a huge character, and then even season 4. And I like the fact that Winona Ryder is just such a great actress. She's sunk into this role, and for me, she is one of those people that just always gives a performance. When it comes to season 5, I think she was just kind of put on the back burner. That was a problem with season 5. One of the things I had a problem with was Joyce was really relegated to the background as just being there as a caring mother to listen to Will, which is understandable. But they played on that overprotective thing too much, and they make Joyce's character not really have a huge character arc in season 5 besides just being comfortable with letting Will do whatever he wants kind of stuff. But I think Joyce is one of the biggest hooks when it comes to season 1, and Winona Ryder is the only actress I could picture in my mind playing this character. Number 11 is going to be Robin, and a huge reason why I love season 3 is because of Robin and Steve's relationship and their character dynamic. And I think Robin is one of those characters for me that just always got better. Like, I really love her addition to the show, and I'm never going to be mad at Robin. And I think all of her moments where she's being quirky, she's being weird, or she's being just vomiting dialogue out of her mouth, because she's one of those characters that she plays to the T where you can't put a cork on her. She just doesn't shut up. She's always open and talking about what she wants to talk about. So I think Robin is a lot of fun, and it's really cool that she gets all these different jobs. Like in the first time they show up, her and Steve work at Scoops Ahoy, then they eventually work at a video rental place, then a radio station. So yeah, it's one of those characters that's cool. She hooked up with Steve. They were buddies, always found jobs together. So yeah, Robin is one of the best characters in the show to me. I know it's been a long video. We are already at almost half an hour. I'm trying to get through this video, but we are here finally at the top 10. My top 10 favorite characters in Stranger Things. And I know this one might be a little bit of a controversial one, but Billy is this high up here, and I love Billy. He is one of my favorite three-dimensional antagonistic characters in this show, because when you look at Billy and you're watching this show, obviously Billy is not a good dude. He is not a good person, and he's very mean to Max, and what he does in the show, he does a lot of evil things. but he's a character that has layers, and he's like Henry Vecna, like that character. But for me, Billy's more interesting, especially with season 3 being my favorite. The fact that we get to see Max and 11 dive into Billy's mind and seeing how he was just such a tortured young boy and a young man, and he never really got that chance to be a child and be a man. And like, he's always been bullied, always had these problems or these overbearing, controlling stepfathers. So yeah, Billy is one of my favorite antagonistic characters in the show. And I think for me, he makes up for it. In season 3, like, I have always emotional moments and tears and watery eyes when it comes down to his death scene in that season 3. Coming in at number 9, we have Eddie Munson, probably the most iconic rock out scene that we've ever had in Stranger Things. Eddie Munson is one of those side characters that just broke Stranger Things fandom. When season 4 dropped, everybody loved this actor and this character, and he ended up being in Fantastic Four playing the Human Torch. So he's got a bright future ahead of him, this actor. And Joseph Quinn's got a bright future ahead of him, trust me. And Eddie Munson is one of those characters that, like, when you watch season 4, that's why you're going to love watching season 4, is returning to it, is because he's so inviting, so welcoming, he's so nerdy and so interesting, but also plays different layers to the character because he's being hunted in season 4, and everybody thinks he's responsible for the murders that are going on that Vecna's doing. So Eddie Munson, definitely one of my favorite characters, and one of my wife's favorite characters too, as well, from the show. Coming in at number 8, which I was very surprised that he was this high, but Lucas has so many good moments in the show. I mean, Lucas's relationship with Max just really gave his character something more to do. And the fact that Lucas has Erica, which is one of my favorite side characters you're going to see coming up pretty soon, his sister, they have such a good character dynamic, chemistry together. And like I said, Lucas is one of those guys that, out of the main crew of characters, he gets a lot to do in season 4 and season 5, and has some of the really cool moments of dialogue and standing up to the bullies, and and doing other things, character arcs where he's trying to, in season 4, he's actually trying to be a part of the basketball team. He's trying to be a popular kid and do other stuff with his life, and just wants the support of his friends. So Lucas always gets some really good character moments and character arcs. And the fact that in season 1 he was a hater of 11, he did not like 11, and by the time we get to season 5, you see him crying out and screaming, "No, 11, no!" Like, I get more emotional by him screaming and crying for her than Mike, because Lucas was such a hater and against her character, and by the time we get to season 5, he does not want her to die. Now, I know I told you all we'd be seeing Erica pretty soon, and she's right here at number 7. It just felt right to put Erica with Lucas because I have so much fun with them. Yes, they are family. They are brother and sister in the show, and Erica is probably, my favorite side character in the show. Every time Erica's in a scene or anything going on, I always want more of her. I was very upset in season 5 when we went, I believe it was the first 2 or first 3 episodes, and we didn't get any of Erica. I was like, where the fuck is she? I want more of this character, and she's just such a badass. She's not afraid to speak her mind. She's nerdy as fuck too. And like, her introduction in season 3 and her character dynamic with Dustin and Robin and Steve is my favorite moments in season 3. So Erica climbed her way up to this list really quick. Like, with season 3 and then season 4, she just cemented herself as this character that I love so much in this show. And it was just proof when season 5 came out, and I was like, where's my Erica? I want more Erica. And I am one of those fans that I'm like, she should have been at that last D&D game at the end with all the boys and everybody and Max sitting at the table. Erica should have been there at that table. Coming in at number 6, we have Max. One of the best additions from season 2. Max is a character that became more of a driving force in season 4, but her inclusion in the crew and being so, shunned and pushed against when Mike didn't want her to be a part of the crew. because he really missed 11, but then Dustin and Lucas pulling her in, that character depth when it comes to her character dealing with Billy, her brother, and their weird relationship and dynamic, I think Max really did grow on me. And Sadie Sink is one of the best actors in this show, period, and she has a huge, huge, bright future ahead of her, and I think Max also has some of the most emotionally potent moments when it comes to this show. I'm talking especially season 4, when you think you're about to lose this character. So gripping. You're on the edge of your seat. No tears, there are no dry eyes in to be seen, because when you think you're about to lose her, oh man, my heart stops every time. So yeah, Max is definitely one of the best characters in this show. We're at the top 5. I never thought we'd get here. This has been a long video, probably one of my longest videos in a really long time, but coming in at number 5, it deserves it though, because like I said, Stranger Things is in my top 10 shows of all time. But rolling in at number 5 is going to be 11. Yes, our main girl, our psychic girl, the one that kind of came into our children, our boys' lives in season 1 and changed everything. Even Hopper came into his life and changed everything. 11 is one of those characters that will always stand the test of time. Millie Bobby Brown, I think, was one of those actresses that didn't really know she was going to become this big off of this character, but 11 is huge. I'm talking, when you go to Comic-Cons or cosplays, there are tons of people who dress up or do the outfits like 11 because it's that popular of a character. And I think 11, Millie Bobby Brown gets a lot of cool creative arcs in this show. Like every season, when you get to every season, 11 is a different character. Whatever happened to her in season 1 and season 2 or season 3 affects her in the next seasons. And she's always there, growth character-wise. The writing might not always be the best, but that is not her fault. But I think 11 is one of those characters that gets some of the most interesting moments and, like I said, character growth throughout the entire show compared to some of these other characters like Jonathan and Mike and Will, who kind of get, put on the back burner when a lot of seasons come out. 11 always has some really awesome stuff to do. Coming in at number 4, we have Nancy Wheeler. And Nancy, I told you she was going to be very, very high up on this list. And there's another reason why Barb is so high on the list. And another reason why Jonathan even climbed a little bit is because of Nancy. I got to give it up to it. Nancy Wheeler is my favorite female character in the show. She is the most badass. She is my Linda Hamilton in this show. And I think she's cool because she's always, a go-get-'em, get it done kind of person. Nancy Wheeler is not one of those people or those characters that's going to sit back and let everything happen to her, and I love that. Whereas Nancy in the first season doesn't really know what's going on, and then by the time you get to the end of season 1, her and Jonathan and Steve are fighting a Demogorgon in the house. Then she becomes more of a detective type character, then a motherly character to her brother and the friends and everybody that is dealing with this crisis. And I think Nancy's the one that usually has the best ideas, the most steady head, and I think every time, like I said, I have a moment with her, it's kind of like Hopper. Nancy and Hopper are like two peas in a pod, which is kind of crazy because they don't really get a lot of scenes together until you get to season 5. But yeah, Nancy Wheeler is one of the best characters. Like I said, my favorite female character in the show, my Linda Hamilton of Stranger Things. Now, taking the bronze medal, number 3 in characters in Stranger Things is going to be Dustin. Dustin is just so lovable and my favorite character of the main crew, the boys, the young boys who first discover 11, playing D&D in the basement together, like out of Mike, Will, Lucas, and Dustin. Dustin is my favorite because he's such a nerd, but he's so smart and he understands his character, and every dynamic he has with everybody, be it Robin or Erica or Steve or even, like I said, Will, Lucas, and Mike, the main crew. Dustin is my favorite one to be around because he has such a unique relationship with every character, and I think, in my opinion, is the one of the characters in the show that has a moment with everybody. I mean, Murray, Robin, Joyce. Dustin has a moment with every character in this show, and I think he's a fantastic actor. Gonna have another bright future. A lot of these characters, or these actors and actresses, are gonna have a bright future after this show. But Dustin, you can't argue the fact that he's a fan favorite. He's a lovable oaf that you just want to squeeze and hug, and you want him to be your best friend, and that's why he's sitting here at the number 3 spot. Coming in at number 2 with the silver medal, the runner-up to the top dog is going to be Jim Hopper. This is one of those characters that when I watch it, I feel so akin to Jim Hopper. I'm like, that's David Harbour's character. I'm like, that's me as a father. I'm a father figure. Like, me watching the show since I've been watching Stranger Things, I've been a father the entire time watching the show. So every time I see Hopper interact with the kids, or, he's being such a caring dad and controlling, and I always understand his perspective more than the kids. I have to step outside myself to view the aspect of the kids, when they're talking about certain things that are going down on the show. But Jim is one of those characters that it's a weird relationship too, because I could have let go of him in season 3. I think when they left you hanging a little bit saying that he died in that explosion in season 3, that I would have been okay with Hopper dying in that explosion. But when we got with him in season 4, I was a little mixed on. Like I said, the Russia storyline is not my favorite in season 4, but that moment, that payoff moment when he gets to see Eleven at the end of season 4, because they've spent so much time apart, like that is one of the most emotionally just crying moments ever in the show. And then season 5, I like Jim's character as well. In season 5, I think they do better with him than in season 4. So yeah, for me, David Harbour is always one of my favorites, and the one that when I watch the show, him and this next character coming up are the ones that I see most of myself in. Now, coming in at number 1, the top dog, my favorite character, and it's kind of no secret because we ran down this list, a laundry list of characters. Like, look at this right here. I know you can't see that probably, but number 1 is going to be Steve Harrington. Yes, the babysitter, the amazing character, that lovable character that you just hated in season 1, that you thought was a bully. You didn't know what they were going to do with this character. He was just that jerk boyfriend that you hated because he was against Jonathan and he was such a bully and, wanted to control Nancy. Steve totally won me over in season 2, and then every season after that, his relationship with the characters, it's kind of like Dustin. Every time Steve touches a character in the show, I think it's such a great moment because he has some of the best moments with all the characters, and the portrayal, I love it. Joe Keery is my favorite, and he's an actor that has done so much other cool stuff too, and he's going to do a lot of cool stuff. Like Spree was a found footage horror film that he did, completely commanded that role, and I think it's because of his character in Steve and what he's been doing on the Stranger Things show, and that's just his talent. He is one of those dudes that commands the screen, and I think Joe Keery does a beautiful job as the character of Steve Harrington, because like I said, you love to hate him. You want to punch him in the face in season 1. And then season 2, he wins you over. Season 3, for me, he gets even funnier, wins me over even more with his relationship with Robin and his chemistry with Dustin and Erica. And then in season 4, he becomes such another more potent character. In season 5, even again, him and Dustin having such a combative relationship, but then again, having one of the best moments where they're being honest with each other. So Steve is by far, landslide, my favorite character in Stranger Things. Wow, this was like a 40 minute video. I'm telling you right now. That's why I told you all to get snacks, get drinks and everything, and sit down and prepare for this one, because this was a ranking of my favorite Stranger Things characters. Please let me know down below in the comments section. Of course, you don't have to rank every character, but if you are a Stranger Things fanatic, fun fan like me, definitely drop your full-on character ranking down below in the comments section, or just your top 10. What are your top 10 favorites? I would love to discuss with you. And are you excited for, yes, we do have Stranger Things, other side projects, side series and spin-offs coming out. Are you excited for those? I would love to talk with you down below in the comment section as well. But like, share, subscribe, do all those amazing YouTube things that us YouTubers love. But most importantly, y'all know what's up. Have a safe and happy day. Peace out.